Hi, welcome to the Harriman Hype podcast. We're coming at you from Mr. Campbell's room. The newspaper staff is here with me here today. We have
Zachary Dern,
Ethan Siebert,
Emily Lamb on audio today. Lily Ramirez. And Annie Hink.
Today we are going to be talking about Hearts of Gold. We all love Hearts of Gold and we enjoy every bit of it. But this year is a little bit different, don't you say? How do you guys feel about this year compared to other years?
I think this year is definitely different because obviously there's the coronavirus that limits the activities we can do as groups and like with the people in the community.
I totally agree with you right there. I personally think it's just really hard to do activities this year, and it's just kind of a harder thing to do, but in a way the spirit is still there, but we just haven't really found it this year.
And especially with all the seniors this year, seniors, as we've talked before this podcast, are a major part of Hearts of Gold, and all of the donations we can confidently say mostly come from seniors. With like the morale low and low turnout, with any activity that we do here, it's pretty empty.
But it is all for a good cause, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, so my first question is, do we feel like all the money that we're giving to the organization, are we pressured to give that money? Or have we not, school, made it seem like it is an obligation to give money this year compared to other years?
I definitely feel pressured to give money, simply because I don't know, I'm just really sensitive, I guess. I don't know how to describe that, but I empathize with it when I don't even relate to it, and so I feel like I need to give money.
Well, it is a competition at heart, again, with all the grades competing against each other and seeing how much we can raise money compared to last. It is a competition. You want to do better than the last. And so even if it's not explicitly said it's a competition or like an obligation to, it's the invisible pressure, whoever came before us, along with like the SBOs, at every little door that you walk into, or the people at the parking lot with their jugs asking for money. Like, you see it constantly. And there are like small moments where you're driving your car out of the school parking lot and there's a person with a jug and they ask for money, and you're stuck there as you're trying to like make a right turn onto the road, and you're stuck, and they're just like, "Oh, do you not have any change on you?" And it's kind of, again, they're not explicitly like demeaning you for not giving money, but it is awkward, and you feel awkward and you feel obligated. So again, it's kind of yes and not the goal of Hearts of Gold, but it's always there compared to any competition.
Yeah, definitely. When I leave every day after school, I go through that same exit with the people with the jugs and everything, and I can definitely confirm that it's awkward. Just try not to make eye contact and just, do your thing.
I think that to a point, pressure can be good. If you think about it, if they didn't stand at the edges of the parking lots, or if no one ever asked for money, we wouldn't raise any money for the foundation that we're trying to give money to. And so to a point, that pressure that is there is good because it encourages students to give money. Now, my personal opinion is that if a student can't give money, they should not feel pressured to do that. And I think that in part, that doesn't necessarily come from the people who are collecting money. It can be just like that personal thing that you just feel guilty, like, oh, I wish I could have given money. And of course, that's like a human feeling that everyone's going to get. But I think that it's not necessarily going to always come from the people who are collecting money.
Yeah, and we did used to do all the, what is it called when they knock on the doors, and odd jobs, right? So we used to do that too. So now it's different since it's COVID time and we can't exactly, go door to door. But we used to do odd jobs, and I guess that would substitute all of the pressure, because you can actually, instead of donating, you could go out to get donations. But again, since it's not the same as last year, it is a little bit different.
Well, I agree that there
is like a little bit of pressure into donating, but it's not. I feel like if they didn't do what they did, pressuring people, they wouldn't make as much money. And so, yeah, I've never felt pressure to donate to the cause before.
I mean, I don't want to say like when you see homeless people on the side of the street, I don't want to say it's completely the same thing, but it does give off some of the same vibes where, like what Ethan said, don't look, keep your eyes forward. It's a little bit of that, and I don't know if there's like any possible way we
get
could
that.
avoid that. I mean, with the opening and assembling, I guess there could be like a way where it's just like, even if you can't donate, just participate with the school. I feel like having that would definitely like take away a lot of pressure, but we don't explicitly say that when we start Hearts of Gold. It's just kind of this thing that we do.
Well, that kind of actually brings me to my next question. It's like we're almost this year, it's almost obligated, and it's just there's so much different stuff than in years past. What do you guys like about this year and don't like about this year? Because they're doing some things right, and some of those things are asking for money the way that they are. But there is a couple flaws, and I do agree with you guys, but I personally, the only reason I don't like the way that we're doing Hearts of Gold this year is that there's not, it wasn't the shopping that got me, it wasn't like the carts that came around that got me going to buy into Hearts of Gold. It wasn't the assemblies, it was the classrooms. It was me doing bargains with my teachers, and they would be like, hey, so you guys don't have to take the state test if, actually, no, that's a lie. More like, hey, you guys don't have to take this quiz if you give me $5 each. Or, hey, we'll watch a movie today if the whole class can pull together $40. Everyone would bring out their wallets, and everyone would have to have their wallets here at school because it was fun to do that. This year, it's a little bit different. What do you guys think?
Well, and also, I found out last night that teachers aren't even allowed to like bargain money for grades now this year. I don't know why, but my language arts teacher emailed and she said that she got in trouble because she was letting students pay to have late things turned in without like the penalty.
Well, it's not really their grades that like they can do that with. It's more like they can take off assignments because you're not really bargaining a grade with taking off assignments and stuff like that. But this year they haven't really been able to do that because a lot of the stuff is blended learning, and there's not kids at school in their classrooms to do that. So,
Well, I think one of the biggest parts of Hearts of Gold, like what you said with the pros, is that it's a group effort. Like, Hearts of Gold is only what you make out of it. I know that's really cheesy sounding, but it is kind of true. Participating as a group to meet a goal is always a very big thing for people. When it comes to charity foundations in general or group projects, getting something done together and then doing it well, that's an ego booster. Like sports, it's a group effort. And once you do it all together well, it's fun to do. So that's Hearts of Gold in a nutshell, but on a school-wide basis. And I think I think it's good that people are making the effort this year to try and still make it good. Like the SVOs, bless their heart, they're doing their best. And you can see that, and you can appreciate that. And I think that's what keeps Hearts of Gold still kind of going, is that the amount of effort and the amount of pressure that they're under and how well they're doing it. But there's a lot we can chalk up to just how COVID has affected this school year, just in general. Everything leads back to that, unfortunately. What they've done wrong is just how it's handled. Of course, there's obstacles that you will never be able to pass with COVID, but just how they've managed it, I think, is just the point where everyone has problems.
okay, so you're saying that it's more the people than COVID this year, right? Because that's another one of my questions is, do you think it's COVID, or do you think it's how people are running it this year?
I think obviously it's going to be COVID, but I think there is an element where the people that are involved is going to contribute to how it turns out. Personally, I remember in years past, it was just been such an amazing time of year because everyone seems happy, and there's just this amazing energy and spirit at the school where you just feel energized and happy when you are around like those people. And I think this year it's definitely really not there. It hasn't felt like Hearts of Gold time usually is. And I think that has a lot to do with people not being at school because they're in blended learning or because they're in quarantine. And in general, there are fewer people, and, the people that are here, maybe seasonal depression is a big thing, and especially with COVID, that is going to be amplified. So I think the spirit this year is definitely not the same as previous years.
Yeah, I agree with Annie. This year, Hearts of Gold has always been, ever since my sophomore year, has always been such a fun time. Everyone's usually happy because of the holidays, and it's just a good time. But I believe because of COVID, it's not as easy to do Hearts of Gold or even do school in general. So it's kind of brought a lot of kids' spirits down, and it's not the same this year.
All right. Well, so in that case, do you guys think that there's a way that they could have done Hearts of Gold better this year?
I think
things that I do miss.
I've had a couple ideas about how, I guess.
Okay, let's hear them.
I mean, I think it comes, again, student body, because with half of our students, away online and half of our students kind of checked out already, I think if we did a better job at uniting the school body through, activities or, more maybe social media presence, we could have just gave people the heads up that, hey, maybe you should, participate during this month. Because when I was a sophomore, I didn't really know Hearts of Gold was a thing until it was a thing, right? So with sophomores this year, if they're online, are they going to know it's a thing at all? And then with, seniors this year, that might not be their entire priority right now. I know that Annie's doing her ACTs coming up, and then finals coming up. The semester's almost over. They got a lot of things on their mind. If we advertised it better, maybe had more heads up or planning with the teachers before the school year started, possibly I would have thought it would be better. I mean, I'm not trying to say that we should have reversed back into the beginning of the year, but at least gave a heads up as to hey, high school's really tough this year, but here's something to look out for. Here's something that's really fun that could make this school year better.
I totally agree with you. I had one personal idea myself, and me and a couple other people in this class have kind of discussed it too. That the seniors, so the most time, the best time that we get the most donations for the year is the closing assembly, correct? And during that time, we pulled together a lot of money, but it's kind of the seniors that donate the most, but they're making, I guess it's good that they're making the seniors pay everyone to pay to get into the ending assembly, and they only have a certain amount of seats, but I think they should have done it this year, whatever grade donates the most money, they would opt into the automatic class that would go to the ending assembly. Not that everyone could buy a ticket. It should be that class should be able to do that. And then if there was extra seats after that, let's say we could only have half capacity of the school, then people could buy into it after they decide, okay, well, the seniors are going because they donated the most this year, or the juniors are going because they donated the most this year, and then whatever seniors want to still go, they'd have to try to get into it. And it'd be kind of almost a raffle if people would donate the same amount, because they wouldn't tell each other who is donating the most to get a spot, because you could buy people out for seats for the closing assembly, in my opinion. And I just think it would be a lot better that way, because then you don't know, it could be minutes before you're going to go to the closing assembly and someone could buy out your spot by pennies, and then you can't really do anything after that, because then they have your seat in the closing assembly. So that was my personal idea, but I personally think that they've been doing a very good job, but there's just been a couple things like that I think they could have done better.
I do
So-
like the priority on seniors. Not because I'm a senior, well, kind of. But with the seniors, it's their last year. I know, wow, I'm saying a lot of stereotypical stuff today, but it's seniors' last year. And with all that effort that we've put into this school already, I definitely think that should be more priority than the other schools who do still have the chance of next year
Yeah,
to
and-
participate. But if it's the seniors' last year, and they haven't had any opportunities to really, like, half of our dances were canceled this year. It was really weird. And I would definitely feel more involved with Hearts of Gold if there was more priority put onto seniors.
The way they're selling the tickets for the ending assembly is to seniors first. So, like, right now it's open to seniors, but next week it'll be open to everyone. So they are prioritizing seniors in that way.
How much are tickets right now?
I would $5, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think that they made people have to buy them because they know we're not going to get as much money this year, and so that's kind of a way to get more money. And I think it's pretty reasonable. Like, if you want to get out of class and if you want to go to the assembly, $5 is worth it for me. Like, I think,
That's challenging at that point.
yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable.
All right, so we've been bashing a lot on Hearts of Gold, and I personally don't like that we've been bashing that hard. So we're gonna go around and everyone's gonna say their favorite part about Hearts of Gold, because for all the listeners out there, we all do love Hearts of Gold. It's just been this chaotic year that has pushed even Hearts of Gold out of our hearts. But my favorite part about Hearts of Gold is just seeing the atmosphere of people giving, and I just love that type of stuff. Especially, I didn't really like that type of stuff before I came to Harriman High, and then when I came to Harriman High, I realized that that last assembly is just my favorite part of the year. Even though it's going to be a little bit different this year, it's still going to be fun, and I can't wait for it.
My favorite thing about Hearts of Gold is like the bargaining and the coming together and everyone just trying to pay up to get out of class, because that's what's fun. Like, when you get to skip class because you bought out and go do something with all your friends all day, it's really fun. Like, I wish I got to do that for my last year of school, but it's okay. I hope the juniors and sophomores and the kids coming up from middle school get to go through that and experience it too.
Well, for me, I haven't been very active during this podcast because this is my first Hearts of Gold that I've done. I'm a sophomore this year and the only sophomore in the class, so for this being my first one, I'm not going to lie, yeah, it's not as what my older sister, who was a senior last year, hyped it up to be, or said that it was supposed to be. So, but I don't really have anything that is my favorite part of Hearts of Gold, but from what she has said, overall it's just the vibe of the school. She said that she noticed that it was just an instant change after, once Hearts of Gold started. Things in the commons and the way people treated each other and things like that, being able to bail yourself out of class, that's awesome. So, yeah, that's probably one of, my favorite things from what my sister has told me.
Okay, so I have two things. So ever since middle school, I found out that my love language is gifting. So Christmas time is literally the bomb for me. Like giving out the different gifts that you can buy from the clubs for other people, or like buying food from like the muffin cart for my friends. That's always fun because you're able to contribute to something and also have like the people around you look happy. And that's another thing, is that like this year I had the opportunity to watch a photo shoot conducted by Luke Larson for the merchandise this year with like some random students, and they were having an absolute blast. And I'm kind of an introvert, so I've never really been out there enough to really get a part of those groups, but just watching them like genuinely have fun while like they have to wear masks and social distance, that was fun. that was really nice to see, because even though it was like difficult to do anything, they were making the most out of it. And like at the end of the day, they had fun, even if those photos didn't turn out well or if the activity turned out to be a bust. As long as they were smiling, like I could honestly not care about anything else. And I think that was like the big part of, we still got something going. We're making it an effort, and I think that's really nice.
I love seeing just all of the people like participating in activities, and like when we have, dress up days where it's pajama day at school, or just doing the activities that you don't get to do the rest of the school year. I think those are just super fun. And of course, the closing assembly is just always amazing. In past years, we just pack everyone into the auditorium. There's no one outside, or into the gym, sorry. And like, it's so loud and it's so crazy, and there's Christmas music, and it's just so fun. And we get to, play with the kids, and all of just the atmosphere is just amazing. And that's my favorite part of Hearts of Gold.
I would say my favorite part of Hearts of Gold is seeing all the sophomores react. Because I have a bunch of sophomore friends, and I was walking with my friend, and she's like, "What's Hearts of Gold?" And we were walking, and we turned the corner, and she saw all the decorations, and it was probably my favorite reaction to everything. Like, she did this happy little giddy dance, and it was amazing. And that's my favorite thing about Hearts of Gold, seeing people's reaction to it.
I love those reactions too. All right, well, thank you all for tuning into the Harriman High podcast. Thank you for Hearts of Gold for making this year a good year. And tune in next time.